can't remember the last time we recorded the podcast um, when we weren't together.
I don't think we've ever done
Not
it when we're not together.
not as a
Not you and
couple.
I.
Yeah, not as a couple. I meant as in not
Yeah,
physically present when we record it. So we're on Zoom today.
we are. I can't see my face, which is quite good.
Not quite opposite ends of the country, but you're up in the Midlands
Yep,
doing the rounds, getting property
yep.
inspections done. So I'm sure you're going to fill everyone in on that shortly and what you've been up to. I'm manning the fort down at Sefton Place. I don't really know why. It's just a nice place to be. There's not actually a huge amount going on at the moment while we wait for all of the plans to come in so that we can actually get a start date on the main renovations. But yeah, it's an unusual example of where we're not in the same place at the same time to record this. And I've got two observations of what it's like. So we're halfway through being apart for what, 8 days?
Yes.
I can't remember the last time we were apart from each other for that length of time, but I have two observations. Now, I'd love to know if anybody else's wife does it, or husband, I guess, if anyone else's partner does this. So I've noticed a habit that Caroline has when we're not in the same proximity as each other. So Caroline will send me a message and then will immediately call me to tell me that she sent me a message and to pretty much tell me
Hey,
the message that she's just sent me. It's just the most bizarre thing
I'm
ever.
lonely. I'm lonely.
It's like I received your message. That's why you sent me the message. You don't now then need to, and I'm talking immediately, like
No, no,
after
I was
the
asking you about something else. I was asking
no,
you
no,
about
this
something
has
else.
happened a few times where
Oh,
the
okay.
first thing you say is, "I've just sent you a message to say this." It's like, well, why did you send me a message? So, does anyone else? I'd love to know. Send us a message if your partner does anything similar to that. It's particularly infuriating when I'm working on what she asked me to do or sent me the message, particularly if it involves something like recording a voice note or transcribing a voice note to ChatGPT. Because so I'll get a message. It happened this morning. So I'll get a message. Caroline say, "Oh, could you just draft a message for this, whatever it was? I can't remember." So I go, "Okay, right, no problem. What I'm going to do, I'm out and about, so I'm gonna do a voice
No, but you don't
note."
normally do it straight away.
What do you mean I don't? Of course I do. I always respond straight away. I'm going to record a voice note straight into chat. I get like 2.5 minutes into this voice note, and then Caroline calls me to say I've just sent it, which obviously interrupts the voice note and the transcription. I have to start all over again. So frustrating.
Oh
On the
dear.
positive side, my second
Well,
observation, my my increased efficiency in leaving the building is quite dramatically enhanced. It's such a novel experience that I can just go within like 2 minutes, I can make a decision to leave the building, put my shoes on and my coat and get my bag and leave the building. I don't have to like preempt, say, right, should we go about this time? Is half an hour enough warning time to get ready? And then, you go off for your last minute wee before we leave the house. And then we're waiting outside and
too much information.
it can be a good 30, 40 minutes just to move from one location to another, which includes the car, by the way, as well. I can get out of, I can pull up somewhere. I can get out of the car as soon as I've stopped the engine, lock it, and walk away. It's really quite novel.
Oh dear. Oh,
Have you got any
oh well.
experiences to share?
Well, it's a lot quieter.
How's your food?
Um, I'm just eating beans on toast and soup. I've eaten beans on toast and soup for 3 days now.
You completely lost the ability to cook.
I've lost the ability to care about it for myself, which is really bad. So I just can't. Well, there's no food here anyway. I'd have to go out and buy it. So I went out on Friday, was it? Whenever I got here, and bought 3 tins of beans, 3 tins of soup, and a loaf of bread. I'm a bit worried actually because I'm running out of bread now, so I might have to go out and buy more food. But yeah.
Well, tonight I'm having a Julius Roberts, or I'm adapting a Julius Roberts recipe. I'm having roasted salmon on ricotta toast this evening. It's going to be my dinner for tonight. Trialing that recipe. So yeah, I'll let you know how that goes. I'll send you a picture.
Thank you. Thank
Um,
you. Well, I had my beans on toast for lunch, so it's super pretty.
Lisa's back tomorrow.
That's exciting.
We'll find out how her trip of a lifetime went to Canada, and
Yeah, I did ask. Sorry to interrupt. I did ask her about the bears. Was it bears? Bears
bears
and
and mooses.
mooses.
I don't
Mooses.
think she saw either of. She apparently she managed to, in a desperate attempt to see a bear or a moose, go to a zoo and still not manage to see a bear and a moose. I don't quite know how you accomplish that. That being said, I spent 7 or 8 months in Canada and never saw a moose, so you can be forgiven that one. But bears is a bit of a shame. But I'm sure they had an amazing time. And she starts with a bang, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, straight in with
Yep.
us. For a good catch up on everything that's been happening, and then revenue management training starts in the afternoon. So we are having her trained up by some revenue manager specialists. So that's exciting to finally get that started, I think.
Yeah, it's been on the cards for a while, hasn't it? So yeah.
So lots of bits. I don't anticipate this being a particularly long episode, but lots of bits happening at the moment. So we do have plenty of things to rattle through in this episode. So we're going to be talking a little bit about what you've been up to. So your inspections, your property inspections, getting proactive with maintenance, and also a little bit about dealing with travel disruption, operating on an island, not the UK,
Gosh, yeah. Yeah.
the Shetland Islands. The fact that we have to consider travel disruption in a way that we've never really had to consider before. We've got a bit of an update on Sefton Place, not a huge amount of movement on that one. And we're going to be talking a little bit about finance and raising money. Oh, and also Booking.com discounts, and how to, well, I say how to, we don't have all the answers yet, but the strategy we're using to try and trade off against things like Genius discounts and stuff like that with Booking.com.
Mm.
So lots to cover. So you ready to get going?
Absolutely, yes. What's the view I can see out the window? Is that the castle?
No, no, just the hills behind Sefton Place.
Okay.
So do you want to bring everybody up to speed with the inspections that you've been doing?
Yes, so lovely Mariana. So I'm working with Mariana on the inspection. So Mariana's put together a schedule for me, which is really good because it means I stick to it or I tweak it slightly, but I've at least got a block of where I know I should be and the inspections I need to do. So obviously we've done it. We did Eaton House last week while we were there, and then I've come up to do the Midlands ones and tying it in with a few other bits as well. So yep, I started off doing. What did I do? Started off with Delvin House, so that's I did the inspections over there, which is really good. And I have to say, after several months of quite hard work with inspections and cleaners here, it is a complete joy to go around the properties that Kat, our lovely cleaner, is cleaning at the moment. And it is just wonderful. She does a brilliant job, and she actually does what kind of we'd like our cleaners to do, and that's take ownership of the properties and the properties they're doing. Because, I reported something and she'd already got ahead of me and said, "Do you want this doing?" And so she kind of comes to us with issues that need doing, and it preempts, actually having to do the inspection. But having said that, it is a hugely worthwhile exercise to do because nothing beats having your own eyes on it. And some things, do little things do get missed, like there was we've only got one hair dryer in an apartment, whereas we may need two, little things like that. But we've also got so it's not a case of just eyeballing it, it's a case of using Airtable. And you've created a brilliant form that I then fill in on my phone as I go around, making notes. And also I use the microphone function on my phone to be able to transcribe the actual report bit, which is great. It transcribes it really carefully. And I've taken to uploading videos rather than photos, because I think partly it gives Mariana a bit more of a real-time feel and context to any issues that we've got, rather than sometimes just an isolated photo, because it's sometimes quite hard to picture where that photo is. So I think it is really good thing to do, really good. So
Yeah,
so yeah, the only thing really was the issues really with the damping delving one, which we always know about and
yeah,
needs to keep an eye on.
yeah.
So yeah,
So that's a good idea with the videos. I'm probably going to have to upgrade our Airtable account, I would imagine, to store. Presumably, those are
yeah,
uploaded with the form. So
yeah,
we are also looking at Asana as a way to manage this with a system that is a little bit more designed for that. I just need to get round to it. But at the moment, the current system seems to be working pretty well. This is about being proactive with property care, isn't it? Essentially,
yeah,
rather than
yeah, definitely.
reactive. I mean, we
Yeah,
are we're in the nature of the business is that we are in a reactive position a lot of the time because we have that it's not like a long-term rental. It's not like buy-to-lets where to a certain extent the people that stay in the property will look after it themselves, and it's only when it's really an issue with the fabric of the building that the landlord will get round to it at some point, depending on how good a landlord they are. We have to be immediately responsive, not
yeah,
only before the next guest arrives, but as much as possible to rectify during the stay of the current guest, i.e., immediately, to avoid any sort of negative feedback. And with a large portfolio, I've actually lost track. We must have been 65 doors, something like that,
yeah,
maybe more. Literally, and what makes us a little bit unique, given that we are still a small family run business, is that we are length and breadth of the UK, from the
mm,
northernmost point of the Shetland Islands to the southernmost point of the UK. So we're not all located in one geographical area, which would, in hindsight, have its advantages. But there are some challenges with maintaining those standards. And I think this is all about being proactive, isn't it? And highlighting not issues before they arrive. Well, yeah, it is really. It's highlighting issues before they arrive, so that hopefully we cut down the amount that we're chasing our tail and having to solve things because
yeah.
the gutters receive a biannual service. I'm trying to think of examples, but stuff where we really get onto that proactively so that we're not, oh, now there's a leak there and now that's happening and now
Mm,
that's happening. Um,
yeah. And I tell you one thing that I have picked up on with Cat, with the thing that Cat also does, is Cat actually looks ahead to see how many guests are staying. So I noticed there was only one towel on the big double bed, and I thought, well, so I checked the booking, it's one guest, which is good because it means we don't overuse on linen, and she's actually looking ahead to see what we need to put
yeah,
out. So
it'd
it
be
makes a
nice if
massive
be nice if our cleaners all played nice at the same time, wouldn't it? There's always challenges
difference, like
somewhere.
children.
Um, but um, but no, I ebb and flow when it comes to cleaners. I think sometimes I think it is a difficult job. There's a lot to consider. There's a lot to do. Um, they're very busy people, and on the flip side of that, sometimes I think we're not asking a lot, and I really think a lot of it comes down to attitude. As
It's
in,
attitude and caring. It's
yeah,
caring.
I think if you care, we are 90% of the way there. Like
Yeah,
genuinely care. I don't mean care about packing your diary and making sure that you can charge and move on to the next job. I mean genuinely care about doing a good job and
yeah.
having attention to detail. Because even attention to detail comes from, you're going to gloss over things if you don't care, that it's caring about it and giving a little bit of thought to what you're doing. That
I, I'll give you an example. Sorry to interrupt. So obviously, I look around the Delphi one's absolutely lovely, and then I go to another one of our properties, and I pull onto the drive, and there's a car parcel shelf behind the bench.
yeah,
And then I look around the property, and you sort of look at it, and think, yeah, it's okay. And then you go into like the boot room, and there's an error hanging off the hooks. And then you look down, and there's a sponge on the floor. And it's all those things that just add up to a guest walking in and thinking, huh,
yeah.
you want them to go in and think sparkling. And how can you miss the parcel shelf? It's like 3 foot across.
I think I like to think we're pretty understanding. Like things happen, things do get missed, but when it becomes a recurring thing, you start to question um, the drive behind it, and whether someone's really taking ownership the
From
way
their
that we need,
hearts, isn't it?
the way
Yeah.
that we need them to. So, but yeah, so I think that's a good point. The other good point I think you made is that no one, all being said, no one will ever care like you do, like we do,
Mm.
as a small business
There's
owner.
no.
And I think that's a realization I'm coming to. I think you were already, way further down the track than me with this because I'm really interested in scalability and managing remotely. And I have an expectation that, which might be naive, it's come from previous background, but I sort of have an expectation that if you're clear with your expectations and what you've outlined, that I expect that to be done. But in reality, no one is going to quite care with the same passion and enthusiasm and everything else protecting their investment than you will. So I think, yeah, it's intensive for probably a couple of weeks, twice a year. Um, but it's a really useful touch point for us, you, with
Mm.
properties, isn't it? And to really, and I always, we've said this before on the podcast, it has positive sides as well. We went to Eaton House to do the inspections not that long ago, and I'm always reassured about how nice
Mm.
Eaton House is. We know it has its issues. We know why it has its issues. Um, but equally, so you go there with a mindset. All right, what am I walking into? And it's lovely, lovely.
Yeah, and also, um, again, we've been working very hard with Zoe, and she and Marianne have put together a really comprehensive maintenance schedule, and Paul, the decorator, has done a phenomenal job of, the tables that we've got there, which, if we were to replace all the tables that have slight watermarks on, it cost us an absolute fortune. But what he's done is he's sanded them down and stained them and then put a polyurethane coating on them.
Okay,
So they look really gorgeous.
nice.
So, you know, it's just those little things that kind of like let us down sometimes. But now we've got this, and he's going around doing all the showers and everything else. So it is just a case of, like you say, we're the ones that are going to care most and actually see more,
Mm.
if that makes sense.
What we do have an issue with in various properties at the moment, anyway, is fire doors. And
Mm.
nothing, fire doors just being fire doors, and guests being uh, just lacking understanding as to how fire doors operate. As in, fire door closures. They close the door automatically. It has to achieve a seal in order for it to be compliant as a fire door, and sometimes that means that the doors um, close more vigorously than some people would like. And you can adjust the fire door closers, and we do have to keep reviewing that. We know we've got one, for example, in Eaton House that has gone haywire and practically hits you on the butt on the way out, and makes a big bang when it hits the door frame. So we've got the fire company out to adjust that. Um, but yeah, it's trying to find a diplomatic way to explain to guests that, listen, we understand that, it's a little bit inconvenient, but I'm sure you'd rather that than us prop open the fire doors and, you're all burning your beds. You know,
Mm.
they have to be compliant,
Mm. Yeah, they do. And that's the most important thing, isn't it? Basically.
and that they are. It's getting guests to understand that they are performing as they should.
I tell you
Uh,
what can affect their performance is if they put things on the back of the door that are heavier, then that will affect the swing with which the door closes.
yeah, it's more the corridor doors, though, isn't it? I think than the actual doors from the apartments themselves.
Yeah, but sometimes people may put things and hang things on the back of a door, which may mean the door is heavier.
You've reminded me, we do have fire door closures on the Delvin House apartment doors now. We were talking about this off air before we started the podcast, but
The front doors, yeah, the front doors, but
uh,
not the internal ones.
oh no, no, they don't require them on the internal ones because it's a self-contained apartment on a lease it's an entirely self-contained
Oh
apartment.
no,
It's
no,
not,
sorry, I knew there were the ones on the actual doors to the
yeah,
apartments.
okay. So yeah, as you can see, we're sort of immersed in fire doors at the moment, and trying to get that balance right between uh, a nice, pleasant guest experience and things being compliant and operating the way they should. The other thing that has come up this week that we've not really had to contend with before is severe travel disruption,
Yes.
which we've realised we've had to craft a template message because we suddenly realised, well, this could actually come up quite often with our properties that we manage and look after under Shetland stays in the Shetland Islands. Because I think they've had some adverse weather, which is just a typical Sunday in the Shetland Islands, and all flights have been cancelled. And so our guests,
Lights,
it's what, sorry?
lights and fairies.
Flights and ferry, you can't leave the island or come onto the island. So, yeah, just how we handle that. I mean, it's difficult. We had a guest that was due to leave to the point where the cleaners were arriving at the property to clean. And got confirmation that their flight had been cancelled. So asked if they could stay another night, which, as it happens, was absolutely fine. But we will then have to charge not only an additional night, but an additional cleaning charge because the cleaners are already there. Um, and so, we've had to craft a message where our advice to the guest is that they include this in their travel insurance claim, which you would
Mm.
hope if people are traveling via using air travel or a long
Yeah.
distance ferry, because it is an overnighter. I think it's a hell of a
Yeah.
trip on the ferry, that they have travel insurance in place, because yeah, we're not a charity, unfortunately, as much as we'd like to help. I guess
Mm.
what we have to anticipate is that at some stage we might not be able to accommodate them for that additional night if we've got a same day check-in. Then again, if the flights have been delayed, um, then potentially the next guest isn't arriving either. So
And you think to yourself, also, if we were traveling away from a destination and our flight had been delayed, we wouldn't automatically assume that our accommodation provider would provide for us,
no,
would we? We'd just, you almost think actually the aircraft, the carrier does,
no.
can you
But
get your compensation?
yeah, but we are, I like to think, rational, reasonable human beings. And not all of our guests always act like rational and reasonable human beings, unfortunately. Not that
Mm.
we had any issue with the guests in this instance, but it's just, it's useful to
Anticipate it.
yeah, like it's almost like force majeure, isn't it? Like, what is your policy for if someone, and maybe it's an international guest who's coming in and their flights have been cancelled? What is your policy to deal with that? How much are you able to give flexibility to the guest, or how much do you kind of just draw a line under it and say, well, sorry,
Yeah.
it's down to your travel insurance, and we do have a business to run at the end of the day. So I think a lot of it is down to the art in which that's communicated to the guest,
Yeah. Yeah,
as much as
definitely.
anything.
Definitely. Yeah.
So Sefton Place, there's again a lot of work going on behind the scenes because it's kind of reaching a bit of a crucial point now. We've got building control plans that's gone to the builders to start taking off some costs from that, and I'm hoping we're not a million miles off having a provisional start date for that work to actually begin.
Oh,
Subject
excellent. I didn't know that.
well, if you think about it, I mean, we need to, right? If you anticipate this being at least a 6 month build, we want to be open by
Mm.
Easter, early summer, then we need to get cracking. But we haven't even seen or approved a schedule of a costed schedule of works yet. So I think a lot's going to happen in the next 2 or 3 weeks on that front to pull all of this together. Lots of hard. It's not that. I'm actually very happy with what's been going on. Lots has been going backwards and forwards between architects and builders and building control and all of that. So it's all moving, but it's a process that involves quite a few people. Plans have already gone off to the fire authority for their comment and approval as well.
Oh, excellent.
Obviously, we've got our planning application is out and about. Haven't checked in the last couple of days, but there were no objections last time I checked, which is always nice. So we're hoping, touch wood, yeah, for some smooth sailing on that one. Um, but professional fees uh, can be something that can run away with you if you're not careful. And I've really found, I don't know what you feel, there's a balance between running a development project in a professional, legal, compliant, responsible way, and not being taken for a complete ride.
Because I was describing it to somebody, and I was describing it as well. They've taken all the bathrooms out now, so we've got almost like a blank slate. They've only got to come in and put some bathroom in, some kitchens in, do a bit of decorating, put a carpet down. What's the problem? Why? Why,
You're
why
sounding
is
like
it
me now. You're sounding like me. Lick of paint, it'll all be fine.
like a thing?
Um,
Oh
but
God.
it's a reasonable sized project in terms of, I think it comes down more to the monetary value of the contract. And we received a quote, didn't we, for contract administration, which sounded like a sensible thing to have in place. You can do it yourself, and I think to a certain extent our architect can also assist with that. But we were interested to see what it would look like if we had a sort of professional QS managing the contract on our behalf. And it's safe to say, I would. I think it's not an exaggeration to say the quote was 10x what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I
10
agree.
times more expensive. And I just don't think the scope
It
and
doesn't
scale of
warrant
the
it.
project warrants it. No, I just
No.
don't think it does. So I don't know. You like to think that people aren't just rubbing their hands together when they see that, they maybe think you're a massive developer and you've got bottomless pockets and you're just going to say yes to everything. You like to think it's not that. Um,
Mm.
but equally, I think keeping an eye on professional fees so that you don't scale out, spiral out of control is a really important part of planning this project, isn't it?
Well, most definitely, because it is probably our biggest project to boot in the sense of square footage and
Size and
probably
scale, yeah.
size and scale. But, you know, if you think about it, probably the Madison was more because we actually did more construction with that. We ended up with 17 units. Okay, we didn't have the house attached at the same time. But, Medicott, that was a proper build.
Yeah,
It's not like we're new to this. It's,
no.
yeah, I just think,
It's an interesting
blimey.
exercise to see, but I think that's applicable to, multi-million pound development or I don't know, some sort of new build development or something, then, that would make sense. But yeah,
Not to this.
we're not a big development company operating in that way. So, but yeah, it's just a useful learning, I think, is to know um, what the project warrants, what you
Mm,
need to be compliant, but without just allowing things to completely spiral out of control. At the same time, you've got to keep careful
yeah.
because at this stage now, which will lead me on to my next point, we want to be directing as many financial resources at the actual project as we possibly can.
Mm,
I think professional fees now, we've reached our cap, um,
yeah.
probably more than. Um, and on that topic, you've also been raising funds, haven't you? Well, I guess more there's an administrative element of that in terms and a relationship element. You've been catching up with a number of our lovely angel investors. Um,
I have indeed. And just keeping them up to speed and letting them know what's going on. And, it's a hugely exciting project. And, they find it hugely exciting as well and kind of live through the project with us. And, they are happy to, if they've got any more pots, they're happy to bring it over to us, which is good. And it is about curating those relationships and meeting people. And sometimes you have to put the miles in to go meet those people, but it's justified, I think. And because when we're not asking for people, but when we're sharing with them an opportunity and they are potentially thinking about parting with their life savings, and their life savings can be anything from 5 grand to 50 grand, it's still that same life saving pot. It doesn't matter how much it is, we have to deal with it as as uh, give it the same attention to detail. I'm
yeah,
sorry, I'm not very clear here, but
yeah, same duty of care that we
it's
would.
worth our time.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's worth our time for each pot
yeah,
because that pot to that person is the same.
And
Yeah,
it's easy to get blasé with
yeah.
that because when you're talking about a project that's going to run into the millions, if you include the purchase price, and we had to raise a fair amount of angel finance to fund that as well, it's easy to get blasé about 10K or 15K, but to the person that's lending that money, that's a very serious consideration for them, or it could be.
I'd like to
Um,
point out, I never, I never get blasé. I never get blasé. I always know how much that money means to those people,
Yeah, but this
and
is
I
what we're
think that's
talking
hugely
about.
important.
Yeah, this is what we're talking about. I'm not talking about getting blasé. What I mean is the numbers. When you're dealing with much bigger numbers, that those numbers can seem quite inconsequential, and they shouldn't. It's important to understand and that's what you're great at, is the people behind it, and what their motivations are. And I think the big lesson for anyone listening to this who is trying to raise funds through angel finance is never to assume, never to assume
Mm.
anybody's circumstances or situation. And I think what we've got very good at, because hand on heart, this is the truth, and we believe in it, and we believe in what we're doing, is that this is a wonderful opportunity for people
Yeah,
that they can't get elsewhere. And of course it helps us, we're not going to shy away from that, but we love to bring people on the journey, and it is a great opportunity for people. And I've definitely been guilty in the past of going, I don't know, maybe it's an investor who's already got some money with us, and you know realistically, are they going to have anything more to put into a new project? And so many times it's turned out that they have, and you should never assume. And all you can do is create
offer.
an opportunity for somebody, to either get involved or not get involved. So you've been doing quite a bit of that, tied in with your grand tour, of all the area. In fact,
Yes.
pretty much every area you've been to, I think you've caught up. We've got investors all over the country. And
Yeah,
it's nice to do it face to face as well, isn't it? I think.
yeah. Always. I think it just makes a massive difference. Really does. I'd like to point out though that I think my car is developing the odd rattle now. I'm afraid.
Already, you've only just got it.
I know, but I've racked up the miles in it. God.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, might be due a service now. Oops.
On finance, one tip that some might find useful, particularly if you're still getting your head around AI, and what it can do for you, and how it can help you as a small business owner as much as anything else. Um, I believe I've only ever run my own businesses, run many businesses over the years, and I think I've got a reasonable head for business. What I don't have uh, a natural flair for is understanding financial statements, financial reports, accounts, that sort of thing. Numbers have always, I think I've mentioned this before. I think people either see the world in words or numbers. I'm definitely a words person. Numbers just don't sort of speak a language to me like they do to other people. Um, I think you're probably more of a numbers person than a words person.
Probably, yeah.
Um, and so, sort of dissecting financial reports, um, trading accounts, profit loss, all of that sort of stuff, assets and liabilities, and what have you. It just doesn't speak to me. And
Mm.
what I've done recently, which I find really useful, just to get a layman's perspective, is to use ChatGPT, upload the financial report into ChatGPT, and literally just say, look, can you put this into layman's terms for me so that I can understand the practical implications for the business? Give me a bit of a performance review. Let me know any considerations moving forwards, etc. And it does a fantastic job of literally mapping out. I'm not afraid to put in there, like, literally treat me like a beginner. I just want this spelt out. What does this mean? What does it saying about our business? Etc. And that's I found that really useful. So if you've not thought of using ChatGPT in that way, and you're like me, and that you find financial statements a little bit bamboozling, um, then then yeah, get on to ChatGPT, because, well, it's cheaper than paying your accountant to do it, I guess. Last
Definitely.
thing, last thing, last thing. Um, I'm jumping back to Sefton Place actually here, because this is an easy thing to miss. If you are immersed in getting a property ready for service accommodation. Now, whether that's an individual apartment, whether it's a block, whether it's a development, or just something that you are staging, maybe like a rent to SA or something, it's very easy to leave all of the guest experience elements of that and the yeah, I guess the customer facing aspect to the very last minute. And that can be quite stressful and can lead to things getting missed. Whereas I guess we're forced into this position with Sefton Place. There's not much else we can be doing at the moment. But I certainly find, I know we're having lots of chats about it, but I find I'm already starting with the end in mind in terms of
Mm.
what we want the final guest experience to look like and feel like. We were hoping to get the plans actually this weekend to review. Hopefully, we'll get those on Monday, as in the designs. So
Yeah.
that'd be super exciting, and that will really start to bring it to life. But I've been already starting to think about the guest guides. I've been tracking some walking trails to feature because we use TouchStay guest guides, which allow you to integrate with the app All Trails and provide kind of bespoke walking routes from your location. Um, so already starting to pull all of that together, and um, we're thinking about logos and um, lawnmowers that can.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. I forgot about.
I can't believe we nearly forgot to mention it.
I know.
Rory told us about this the other day. Rory, our
Shetland, yeah.
colleague at Shetland Stays, he mentioned that the what do you call it, robot lawnmower technology has come on to the point where you can buy 3D lawnmowers that obviously can alter the height at which they cut the lawn to the point where they can cut your logo into the lawn.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
I
How,
know.
how,
I was just so excited about that.
how
They're not
tempting is
cheap.
that?
They're not cheap. I've had a look. They're not cheap.
How much are they? Just out of
About
interest.
3 grand.
Are they really? Wow. That's
Yeah,
a stretch. Yeah, that is a stretch. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, how funny would that be? You know, from the top floor of the hotel, you get the logo cut into the
I
lawn. That'd
know.
be hilarious.
But you could just
Um,
set it off, couldn't you? Yeah, my worry is how do you stop people from pinching them?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And how does it, okay, I can understand how, you guys were telling me you map it out and it's GPS and you can go, it doesn't matter if it's not, if it's an awkward shape. How does it cross the road? We've got a road at Sefton
Ah,
Place.
they probably could trundle across the road.
Well, yeah, it could go across the road, but how's it not going to get mown down by the Amazon delivery truck is more my concern. Like,
As delivery
how does
replacement.
it know that it can cross the road at any time? Do we need to have a sign saying beware, people, children, dogs, and lawnmowers crossing? Uh,
Oh
Yeah,
dear. This
I'm not
this came
sure.
about, didn't it? Because of Rory's cleaner. One of the cleaners they've got up in Shetland. She was saying she's got one of these robot hoovers.
Yeah,
And so when she's doing the larger properties, she sets the hoover off upstairs while she's
yeah,
cleaning downstairs. How
yeah.
sensible is
Well, it's either really lazy or really innovative, or both. I mean,
that?
yeah, fair play. If I guess a lot of efficiencies are born from a desire not to have to do the job. So, yeah, yeah. So, but what? Yeah. Well, I don't know whether we're going to go down the robot lawnmower route. Um, Potentially, so 3 grand might be pushing it. But we are already thinking about the final sort of presentation of our product and logos and all these sorts of bits and pieces. In fact, I think as and when we get the planning permission approved, just because you never want to tempt fate with those sorts of things, I think we're going to get some hoodies and stuff printed up with Sefton Place boutique apart hotel coming soon. Ask us any questions so that when we're out and about in the area or speaking to local businesses or whatever, people start to get to know who we are
Yeah,
and what we're doing.
yeah. Good idea. Good idea.
Perfect. Well, that's a wrap for episode 25 of season 3 of the Secret Service podcast. If you're enjoying the podcast, please spread the word. A like, subscribe. Maybe you could even mention us in your socials. That would be amazing. We just want to reach as many people as we can. And don't forget, we are on YouTube. We haven't put too much in the last week or so, but there's some new stuff going in. We're going to show you how the rip out's been going on. That's going to go up there in the next day or so. So do check out our YouTube channel as well. The link is in our bio, or you can just search for the Secret Service podcast on YouTube. But that's all for us from this week. So we will catch you on the next episode.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.